Hi, this is Alan, and we are back. And I must say, I'm here with the moderator of the day. She was killing out there with the panel, and it was so much information and so, I mean, they were hitting from every angle. I mean, from the environment to Web3 to blockchain. I mean, I thought I was going to have to enroll in your class.
So I think, when we're at a conference that is about prioritizing technology that is meant to help everyone be part of the conversation, as opposed to it being just limited to those who have access, which can be, those who have wealth, those who are in the elite class of humanity that can actually get online, which is not everyone. And we'd like to think it is, but it's not. And so for me, it's about how do you engage the largest stakeholders of the world, and that does not always entail going through technological conduits. That's first about having humanity, and Web3 is trying to bring humanity back into technology. And so your question this morning was totally on point. He asked about how can we reach the masses, how can we reach the average human being to care about what's happening in our world. And the only way you're going to do that is to reach them through the conduits that is currently available to them. Sometimes it might be the internet, sometimes it might be social media, right? Other times you're going to be on the ground campaigning door to door. It's going to be going to the communities that are living off grid. It is about educating and bringing every stakeholder into the mix, because it takes all of us to make the shift happen. It can't be any one of us. It's not about my ego or yours. It's about what we can do together. That's the real power that we have to change the world.
Well, what was so beautiful about your segment today was that we had to really try and focus, because I think there was only like 2 questions asked because there was so much information. But the beautiful thing that you made sure that the viewers and the audience received was the complete concern that the next generation should be focused in on, which certainly is our economy, certainly is our technology, and certainly our environment. How did you, and share with the viewers, how did you come about composing that instead of being focused on one aspect of all of that?
Yeah, I would say that, first let's look at what Web3 is, right? It's not a new technology. It's actually what we used to do. Our ancestors used to do it. Like when West Africa, for instance, if somebody moved houses and got a new house, they would announce it to the entire community so everybody knew that this was the new address of that person. That is a way of having community consensus on a decision that has been made. And that's really what we're trying to do, is bring that onto a platform that allows for consensus to exist in every choice that is being made, because my choices affect your life, right? And your choices affect my life. So how can we be in awareness of each of those choices in real time so that we can make it in a mindful and inclusive way? Now, in terms of how we can enable each other to do better by each other, is by having conversation, is by entering a mutually respectful dialogue, even if we are completely different in how we see the world and how we approach politics, how we think about economic values. Ultimately, what are we trying to do? We're trying to coexist. And the only way we can do that is to come to a space of consensus. And that's what we can enable through technology like blockchain, right? And through NFTs and smart contracts and everything else that you hear about. Those are buzzwords, but ultimately it comes down to the basic concept of us having an eye-to-eye personal conversation towards reaching a communal goal that affects all our lives.
Wow, well, Asher is so incredible. Can I enroll in your class, first of all? Because I want this platform to be the new platform that's going to educate that next generation, and your name become a household name.
Thank you.
So people will say, oh, that was that pioneer back in the day when this got started.
Yeah, so if you want to learn more about my efforts, the platform we're launching with AB and Bev initially, but other Fortune 500 brands are going to be a part of the ecosystem. And we're always looking for interesting impact contributors and content creators, investors, anyone who's in this ecosystem and cares about planetary and social well-being, reach out to us. We're happy to have that dialogue. The platform is called Henocene because it is the age of unity based on the Greek word henosis. And we are currently in the Anthropocene, which is the age of man, and that needs to end because it has not really served us for the long haul. Because it's been about one gender, it's been about one race, it's been about sort of a Unitarian perspective that has come at the cost of countless people, countless living beings. And now is the time for all of us to be heard, all of us to be seen, for all of us to make the shift happen.
Well, you know what? I just want to shake your hand, give you a hug. You are amazing. And please follow this amazing woman because she's going to make me cry because she's going to be a beast. And because of that, you're going to see the results in 10, 20 years.
Yes, you will.
So,
I mean, I will say the one thing is don't quit. Start what you care about today. Don't wait. And just stick it out. Because if you know your why, there's nothing that's going to stop you from realizing it.
wow.
Yeah. All my love.
Can we start a university behind?
How, and from delivery to, from design to delivery on your doorstep, we have that product story. As we keep moving forward though this year, there's a new part of what utility can really mean, and that is this co-creation and co-community. Thinking about philanthropy, I think doesn't have to just be about this give, it's a give-take, co-creation, co-community effort together. And so if you look at our favorite brands, like the Nikes of the world, it's not just these shoes being developed from the design rooms in their campus in Portland, it's now the invitation for anyone who loves Nike to participate and help design and submit ideas and put those through community voting and what the community voice says into actual production. And of course then sharing in royalties, profitability, revenues, and opportunities for those community members to be discovered. And that kind of, I think about the new definition of philanthropy being widening the circle. You know, philanthropy helps everyone, that starting artist who submitted a design to Nike to be shared with their millions of social media followers, to be voted on and win and be created. That is widening the circle and giving opportunities that never existed before. Okay, so one of the things I know we're all familiar with is that glaze that you are met with when you start talking to your family and friends about Web3 and NFTs and blockchain and crypto, and then someone says FTX and the room goes quiet and nobody wants to say anything. So let's get back to this idea of should we even be calling it NFTs? I'm going to stop calling it NFT and we're going to call it a blender right now. Okay? So right now it's like we have this blender and we're telling people it's so cool. It has lots of different speeds. Speed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can get a yellow blender, a red blender, a stainless steel blender. You can get a wireless blender. My blender has a lid with a hole in it, like a little thing that you use to shut it down when it doesn't work. My blender travels with me. No one is yet saying, you can make a margarita in this blender. People can't get excited about the color of a blender. They get excited about what it can do. So until we start describing and showing people what NFTs can do, just describing the technology is not going to advance this movement. It's not about describing technology, it's creating use cases that prove how this works. So for anyone who's thinking about launching an NFT, think about what it's meant to achieve. And go back to the blender. Are you making a margarita? Are you making a soup? Are you making a smoothie? Because once you know what you want it to do, then you'll know what to put into this model. All right, so all talk. Let me show you the action. What did Mavion do? So Mavion is born from our Web2 company called The Accessory Junkie. We worked with hundreds, thousands of independent designers around the world. And we had this mission to scale scarcity. There are 40 million independent designers around the world. And back in 2020, we were accepted into Techstars. And we did the math on what it would take one of these highly talented independent designers in Europe to find a new customer in each US. And we realized that there was a 0.0000004% chance of that happening if they used Etsy, which is time was the gold standard for independent designers. Because don't forget, they're making beautiful pieces. They're not optimizing SEO. They're not figuring out language barriers and currency exchange. They're just making gorgeous rings, necklaces, bags. And with those kinds of odds on Etsy, as that's the place they're supposed to go, it's virtually impossible for them to grow their business. So our question from Web 2 was, how can we scale scarcity? How do we scale fashion? We don't want to mass produce. And in Web 2, that's the answer, mass production. So we embarked on a path with our advisors, our angels, to really understand how we could scale this scarcity without mass production, without taking away the very essence of what these designers are making and what consumers love them for. And we thought to ourselves, gosh, this digital thing is pretty cool. I think there's something we can do here. In March of last year, we launched Mavion as our first layer of PFP collection. Identify the community of people who care about this mission. That's great. But more than that, as people revealed which Mavion they received, maybe you got this ring, maybe I got these earrings, someone else, you got those gold earrings up there. If you revealed that in your artwork, you actually received a physical piece. So here are rings that are in the NFT, here's the actual earrings in the NFT. And fantastic, you get to wear this piece that is made by one of 16 independent designers from around the world. And that makes me feel good. As a consumer who's new to the space, I can understand that. I can understand and touch and feel and wear this and receive instant benefit. The utility of style every day of my life. That's layer one. So cool, I have this earring now, I'm wearing it today. What can we do next? Well, this earring, all of the accessories, are then turned into digital assets. Those digital, sorry, go back here, there's the physical utility. And then after that, they're turned into a digital asset. So while there might only be 50 of these earrings, we're going to make this earring into a digital asset that's then sold in gaming, in metaverses, ready for your avatar. And we can sell 5 million of those. And it's not just Mavion that benefits from this, it's that independent designer in Greece, in Brazil, all over the world. They are able now to benefit and receive royalties and rewards from the digital sale of this ring, no matter where it goes. And what I love about this is that's a light lift for them. They don't have to understand how gaming works, because we do. We'll put it in the game. We'll help them connect to new audiences around the world and through these digital landscapes, whether it's in games, metaverses, and who knows what comes next. This is something that can live in perpetuity. All right, I'm going to pause there, bring out my wonderful guest. We're going to talk about what Angel City has been doing to use NFTs. All right, a little round of applause for Catherine. Woo!
And individual creation, but also what they can do collectively. And so I think that is the future of community building. It's the future of brand. We don't sit here and tell you who we are and you better buy in. It's we decide together what is most important and what we need to stand for. And that's how you actually build community. That's how you build loyalty. It's how you build something lasting.
What's been one of the biggest challenges that you've had in wanting to make this step and really create this foray into Web3 moment and movement in setting things like this up?
I think the first, I've already alluded to, the first challenge was that I didn't know what it was. I think that's common, and I work in sports, and it hasn't been a part of sports traditionally. I think the second is something that surprised me a little bit was the backlash of some of our most diehard fans, just to the mention of crypto, of NFTs, of Web3. A sense that this is elitist. I'm going to say some things I hope that aren't too harsh because these are just outside perceptions, but it is the tech bro culture that frankly, does not mesh with women's soccer fandom for obvious reasons. And it's also, sustainability. It's all of those questions that I didn't realize were an issue that came to the forefront and have continued to come to the forefront. And so the biggest hurdle in what we're trying to do now is listen, is educate ourselves, and then educate our community in a way that is not, pedagogic. We want it to be, again, a conversation. Because we don't want to alienate people, but we also understand this is where things are going. We want to bring along as many people as possible, but we can't stop. We can't stop evolving.
I think that's a really important thing to note. If I look around this room right now, this room is a great representation of the diversity that is in the space, but is not given a microphone to speak about it, to be represented in more mainstream media. So the backlash is understandable considering that narrow slice is getting all of the airtime. So I think thank you guys for being here and remaining interested to have your voices. What are you looking forward to next as this year unfolds for NGC?
Well, our first game is Sunday. That's the obligatory plug. If you don't have tickets, there are like a few available. Come see us. It's an amazing electric experience. But also, frankly, as head of community, I feel like we will continue to do this on the ground work. I am so excited that I am actually interested in Web3. And I am interested in seeing what this could be. And as we take over the world as Angel City and marry purpose and business everywhere we go, this is going to be an integral part of that. So just really looking at how Web3 and NFTs in particular as a start can be the beginning of that global reach and bringing in new people.
What's one thing that you would like everyone here to take away if you've forgotten everything we've said, it didn't make sense, but what's the one thing people should know or think about?
I don't know where everyone is in this room in terms of your relationship with Web3. I'm sure there are people who are experts in the field, and then there are people who are less familiar. And for those who are on the less familiar side of the spectrum, I would say this is not scary. I think that was the number one thing, is it seemed foreign and unintelligible to me, so much so that I didn't even try to learn. And the moment I did, I felt like I sparked creativity in a brand new way. It's not scary, it's really fascinating and engaging.
I'm going to wrap up with two things and we'll open with questions, so please stand here and I'm sure we have questions for you. Just a couple of final points for you guys to remember. You belong here. Please do not leave this space. I know that it feels challenging. I know that for every woman here, 96.7% of VC funding is sadly not coming to us, but please stay the course. We need you, and I'll tell you why. Bring the next slide. This is very much true. Women-led and minority founder NFTs are the ones that are actually making impact. The sustainability, the environmental, and the social needs are being met by the people who don't usually get the airtime, don't get the funding, but actually get shit done. So thank you guys for being here. We are open to questions. Please.
Hi. My name's Enoch. Hello. So my name's Enoch, and I'm the founder and CEO of a company, Infinity Opportunities, that's working to build community and create employment for neurodivergent adults. Myself and everyone on the founding team are all autistic and ADHD or some other combination of neurodiversity. And I'm really happy that you two are speaking because there are projects we're working on that actually relate to exactly what you two have done. I'd love to actually talk a little more, whether it's one-on-one time, and be able to get some information because we're working on launching a fashion line for Autism Awareness Month. It's coming up in April. That's something I designed using AI-generated art and patterns. And we're also working on putting together a PFP collection to be able to give people some token-gated access to our community. But there's elements of the overall plan of the business to have live workspaces, because executive function is such a difficult area of management for neurodiverse adults. Being able to have co-living spaces where there's actually staff that are taking care of things like cooking and helping people to manage their schedules and calls in a way that teams can work together and live together in an integrated manner. You two have already been doing exactly this in your fields, and I would love to get some advice and some knowledge and help on how we can make this a blast off instead of a crawl up the mountain.
Turn that on. There you go.
Let's start with one thing we can all do. Will you just please tell us where can everyone in this room follow and support and help amplify the message? Your social handle?
So you can follow our socials. All of our socials for the community outreach are Full Spec Fam.
So at Full Spec Fam.
Yep, at Full Spec Fam on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and I think YouTube as well. And my personal account is at Kaz, K-A-Z, Enoch, E-N-O-C-H on Twitter. Every Friday morning, we have a weekly Twitter space, the Full Spectrum Fridays. That is a community gathering and support space for neurodivergent adults. And this week, we're actually going to be having a recap of NFTLA. So for any ND adults that have been around and enjoying the workshops, enjoying being part of this experience, it's a great time to come together to connect, share what you're doing in the space, and help build the neurodiversity movement Web3 into a real tsunami.
I love it. The least we can do is follow all this stuff and as Enoch and subsequent to the space on Friday.
Thank you.
Hi.
Catherine has a soccer organization, and then there's soccer organizations all over the world. So what is the relationship between Marion's advice for how she can use NFTs to help affect her organization and women's soccer around the world?
That's what you want to do. For her? You go first.
Oh gosh, I'm not even going to pretend to know the answer to that. But I know that there is one, and I think in these early stages, collaboration and experimentation are probably where we're at. And I think what you're doing to make those first steps to make it more community connected is what has to happen. You know, to your point, the backlash is still there, and NFTs sound scary. People have been burned by those with ill intentions. So to create this open arm approach first, to welcome, encourage participation and community benefit is where it has to begin.
Yeah, I think for sure everything that Michelle said, I feel like I could say that about everything, what she said. And I think the thing that we at Angel City have really tried to do, not just in the space, but in everything, is to not be afraid to be the first. And then to tell everyone, hey, this worked, this didn't. So we've been really transparent with teams across the league, with teams all over the world, even our rivals to the south in San Diego, because...
Look at your face change.
Did it? It was just like,
There you go.
I try. They're friends. Not food. But, but really it's that willingness to be the first and then to share. Because some things are going to work, and sometimes we're going to fail, and I don't want us in this space or in any space to be shy about that failure, because this sounds like somebody saying graceful, but that's the best opportunity to learn and make sure somebody else can do it better. Because every time the bar gets raised, that's better for all of us.
Hello. Thank you for speaking. It's really I have a question. What are the biggest wins for you and your organization organizations and helping people in terms of support. Hi. What are the biggest wins for you guys in your organizations, and how can the people in this room help support and motivate that?
Biggest wins.
Okay, well, the biggest win and the highest support are kind of one and the same, and it's nothing new, which is we sold out our home opener last season, and that is such a testament to people caring, people investing, and people showing up. That's the best way to support Angel City, is to actually be there, and it really doesn't matter if you're a soccer fan, if you're a Web3 fan, there is such an unbelievable community surrounding this club. So show up and be a part of it.
I'd say everyone's at very different life stages in their crypto Web3 journeys. So as individuals and consumers, follow us. Follow at Navion. We do a ton of events to educate and empower people, particularly women and people of color who don't have easy access to that education. And follow so that you can increase your knowledge base on what's happening in the space. The only way for you to get smarter about how you want to be present here is to follow the projects, the brands that you trust and relate to see what's going to work for you and how that may benefit you, how you can participate, contribute, and vice versa, how those brands and projects can benefit right back to you.
And I do have one question before we let you go. Why don't you share for the audience how your model with the sports team started here in LA? Because it is a new evolution that we're getting into. And last but not least, I'll introduce myself so you can see how why the question is being posed. My name is Alan Shea. I'm the host of Our Society TV. Our objective is to create a media platform to get ready for the next chapter of our society. And your team is actually one of them here in LA. As you can see who I'm wearing, cap in our community. So what I would like to share or ask you, how are we going to incorporate this new community, especially since you've already started a new community with your team that can attract youth?
Absolutely, and I just was on the call with Manisha from the Lucas Museum yesterday. It was like a mic drop call. I wanted to end my day right after that. It was so good, so inspiring. So the genesis of Angel City, as I mentioned, is sort of born out of tech movement and Time's Up movement. So the values of Time's Up, and then the understanding that you can start and run a sports business in a way that had never been done before. And so that was Karen Norman, NBC, Natalie Portman, you might know her, actress, activist, and Julie Ehrman, who is an entrepreneur also in the tech space, and they co-founded the club. Our lead investor is Alexis Ohanian. Again, you might have heard of him, especially in this room. And it was just a different approach to the game, not just because it was run like a startup, like a tech startup or a new startup, with seed funding, but also because it was the thesis that if you don't invest properly in this sport and in this community, it's never going to amount to anything. And by the way, if you aren't familiar with the history of women's soccer in this country, this is the third iteration of the professional league. The first two folded. There was, for the first probably 9 to 10 years of this league, the base salary for a player was less than $15,000. Say that again.